Prem Pals.
Prem Pals.
It's
How
been
we
a
doing out
while.
there? Yeah, it has been a while. Been too long.
Yeah, we had some technical difficulties due to a fake microphone that I purchased here in Mexico. So we're both on what are these mics, Sean?
Sure. They're the
Sure,
sure, Mike.
Sure mics,
Mm-hmm.
pricey mics.
Yeah.
And I'm living down here in Mexico. There's a website called Mercado Libre, which is like the Amazon of Latin America. And I was so pumped to do Prem Pals, I was just like, oh, there's a good deal on this mic. I'm going to buy it. So I bought it and we recorded the first 5 episodes on this mic. And I mean, it didn't sound terrible, but I was actually just staring at Sean as I do while we're doing this podcast. It's one of my favorite activities. I mean, it's a lot of people's favorite activity, actually.
Yeah, it's good. I'm
Um,
good. I'm a good person for people watching.
yeah, exactly. And I noticed that his mic looked a little different than mine. And then the paranoia crept into my brain of, wait a minute, is my mic fake? So I went down the rabbit hole of YouTube videos and what to look for. And sure enough, my mic was fake. And the funniest part is Shure actually manufactures their microphones down here in Mexico. So they say made in Mexico, and mine said made in
Mm.
Mexico. But when I actually went through the seller, that it was like Microphones Plus, located in Shenzhen, China. And I was like, wait a minute. These mics are made in Mexico. I'm in Mexico. Why did this come from China? What was cool is they were basically like, yep, you got us. And they gave me a full refund. And I
Oh,
sent it
really?
back, full refund, sent it back. They were kind of just like, don't put a review on our store, which I'm going to. But full refund. Yeah. So I bought from the actual Shore store, and now Prem Pals is back. Sorry for the delay.
I like that story. I had something similar actually happen with I'm a huge nerd obviously, and I ordered these books from I think through Walmart, but it was like The Labyrinth and some other like sci-fi movie
Nerd.
turned to books, and they had like these little jewels on the front, and someone had made these really cool custom books, and I was like, well, that'll look cool in my library next to The Hobbit and all that stuff. And I start searching, better deals, whatever, and of course, but all the all the cookies and everything sees that I'm looking for it, and anyway sends me to Walmart, and it's like a quarter of the price. Order it. Long story short, same thing happened. I get it, and it's all black and white, screen printed, like somebody had put it on top of a printer, and like you could see the creases from the pictures that it's just Xeroxing, and then like and the outside was like this flabby fake faux leather, and then like bedazzled jewels on the top. And I was
So
just
you
like,
kept
God,
it.
they got me. But
You kept it.
luckily, no, luckily it's Walmart and they take back anything. So
Oh,
I sent it
good.
back. And the companies, though, wrote me a said similar. They were just like, hey, yeah, the quality is not the same. Apologies. You just yeah, don't review us. So that's funny that's happened to both of us. But it's also even funnier that you said that you noticed because of like the size and everything. It's kind of like, when you were a kid and you were watching porn, you just didn't know like the differences and things. And then as you get older,
Yeah.
you're like, anyway,
Yeah. Sometimes it's
that's
bigger when you
X-rated
see it on
stuff.
the
So
screen.
kids cover your ears. Do I have green screen behind me? Where's
You
the
got green
background?
screen behind you, man, but it goes well with your white hat
Because
and
I had a
slippers, and
background for a while, but it's fine. It kind of looks fresh.
it looks fresh. I'm digging it, man.
All right.
Let's
Speaking of the green, let's get to the pitch talk, huh?
yeah, man. Let's see. Tottenham are third in the table, one loss this season. We've played Arsenal away, we've played Chelsea away, we've played West Ham away, which is big game for us. I mean, what do you think as a non-Spurs supporter of Tottenham right now? Because there's even Spurs supporters who are saying we play shitty football. It's not pretty, but we're having the best start ever in the history of our club. So I mean,
Yeah.
I'm curious as to your take on what do you think of Tottenham right now? Are we title contenders? Are we locked in for top four? What's the deal with us?
So I see a lot of similarities in we played this one similar ball when we got second like 3 years ago, whatever that was with
Yeah.
Ollie and also with Mourinho. And he came out and said, hey, this is one of the biggest achievements in my career is getting this squad second
Yeah.
place.
Yeah.
So it's very similar in the sense of like, I agree that the football is not really that attractive. You have very solid aspects. Like on the attack, it's obviously really pretty when everything links up. And it's not straight up counterattacking football, but it kind of is like more of like your midfield is that stopping point of like you've got a kind of a strong midfield that it's almost like a back like 5, 6, that moves together. So instead of just sitting back and hitting on the counter, you're like stopping like midfield and then pressing the counter. So it's this really quick changeover. And if you guys hit those on the right notes, and of course, Harry Kane being in form, it's just like the most random spots. I mean, he's just got really good movement, so he knows where to be
Yeah.
in the box, and not just on shots, but on assists and things like that. So, like, obviously, he's a key player in there. And then when Son is on form, which is pretty much all the time, even when he took that dip, I knew he'd be back. And that I don't think we've been back on air since he had that hat trick. It was just, that's
12-minute
just
hat
Son,
trick.
like just putting it on you. So yeah, I can't say that you guys are title contenders, and not in the sense that it couldn't happen, because there's been stranger things happen
Yeah.
in the league, but convincing title contenders, no, I don't think so. Um, Not to say that you can't get there in a couple more windows. It's all about depth. Obviously, we're going through similar, not in the same context as going for titles, but just trying to find depth. And you're one or two players off from having a bad match because one key player like Erickson was sick last week, and you just see the differences, and it's
Yeah.
always a talking point, and you're always thinking about it. Um, but yeah, I
Yeah, but
think
we
for you,
do
it's
have depth now, which is nice. I mean, like Kulisevsky being out, like I think he might be the linchpin of our
yeah,
offense.
yeah,
Honestly,
and
that's been
that's
hard
things
on
that,
us.
but you have to have change. Like it has to be like a complete different style of player
Yeah,
that comes in, and not just like a one for one. Like when the commentators are like, it's a like for like. Sometimes I'm like, that can hurt and that can help.
yeah,
Um, for me, like I was mentioned since the beginning of the season, Basuma, I like that he's starting now because he gives you that difference there, that like he's an actual holding
yeah.
midfielder
He
that
didn't
like
start this game, but he came on. So Richarlison was injured in the second half. The first half, honestly, we were shit, and Everton should have gone up 2-0. And it was I was hating watching this match. It was horrible.
mhm.
Everton was playing really defensive. They were attacking Damari Gray. They've got some quick players that they kind of got into the box, and they, to be honest, should have been up 2-0. Richarlison got injured, and we switched to a 3-5-2, which we've
Yeah,
experimented a couple times with. And Basuma came on, and Basuma had his best game as Spurs shirt. He was fantastic. He was very in control of possession. He's aggressive. He's silky. He's not quite as Højbjerg's a bit more, I would say, like boxy. He's more, he's just got a closer touch and things like
yeah.
that. But we looked like a better team after that. And then, Kane's penalty, which I was shocked to see on social media how many fans were saying dive, dive, dive. To me, that was one of the most clear penalties I've ever seen. I mean, even if you look at Pickford's reaction, he was like apologizing for it. He just
Yeah,
jumped his
yeah,
body in
yeah.
front of his legs. Kane
Well,
buries it.
he's also a lanky person, so
Yeah.
when you fall or flare, it's gonna look more dramatic being a bigger guy,
Yeah.
here
And I
nor there.
mean,
But
strikers take dives, but Kane's not really that well known for it. He missed his last penalty, skied it. So I was a little nervous on this one, but
well,
he slammed it.
Pickford read it.
Yeah. Just hit it too hard.
Yeah, I mean, and that's the skill behind it, though. It's like he can guess the direction I'm going. I'm bury this, head down and do the job.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, tale of two halves, man. Second half, we looked in complete control, both offensively, defensively. Pierre-Emile Højbjerg, man, is an unsung hero. He scored the second goal. I mean, I know this sounds absurd, but I would put him top three, maybe top five, but at least top three best central midfielders in the league right now. He's
Hmm.
incredible going forward, going backward. He's a leader on the pitch. He's been popping in goals every 2, 3 games. I mean, he's had an outstanding season. What do you think of Pierre?
I think that like he's definitely changed my opinion since early on. Like the first
Yeah,
chats we were having, it's kind of like not really convinced. But he's got great work ethic. Like he's
yeah,
moving. He's constantly going. He's got a yellow card in him a lot, which it can be worrisome. I felt like that sometimes he makes unnecessary challenges because he is trying to prove that
Aggressive.
point of like I am good on both sides of the ball, and but I think you have a strong enough defense that sometimes he doesn't need to go in that hard. But on the ball, yeah, he's a workhorse, and I think he's providing that safety net too for your strikers, your front three, four, whatever to move and groove like they want to. So yeah, I mean, when all the gears are moving like that, it's fun to know that you're not like, oh, here comes a mistake when the ball gets taken off one of your front players, and you're just like with us, Fred, just I can't even with that. It's always like, oh, his work ethic, his tenacity. Mistakes in the midfield like that though are gut wrenching, and it's hard to watch a match when you see the ball getting taken off your front players and you're just like turning your head like, oh God,
Have
please,
another
please.
mistakes coming in the
Yeah,
next
yeah.
level.
So having Hoiberg in there, I feel like does give a peace of mind, and he is playing really well.
Yeah, no, he's playing great, and I have a theory on what we're doing here. So I mean, obviously this is a weird season, right? The World Cup's coming up, and that changes everything. And
Mm-hmm.
I don't feel like we've hit second gear yet. I feel like we're holding back a little bit. I can tell, we're not betting in players as quickly as we should. Basuma should be starting, but he still isn't starting. Jed Spence is finally getting some minutes. I mean, I think we're actually being strategic with our players so that we can be absolute full blast after the World Cup. I have a feeling that's what our kind of strategy is here, is to maybe not kind of utilize everyone and show all the tools we have in our quiver and all that before the World Cup, and then just go full blast, be the best from an endurance standpoint, and have all these players who other teams aren't expecting that are going to kind of come in and be big integral parts of the post World Cup. So I think that's a little bit of what Conte is doing. Another weird thing is, I don't know if you saw the Richarlison injury, but it looked potentially like season ending. He had like a
Like
really bad muscular injury and he was just burst
yeah,
out crying. Do you think that it's affecting players' form? Like, not like, Richarlison's number 9 for Brazil. He loves playing for Brazil. He doesn't want to
yeah.
get injured. Do you think people are holding back right now just because they don't want to get hurt?
I mean, I'd like to say it's hard. It's a hard take because a lot of the players don't know how many World Cups they have in them because they're not Ronaldo's and Messi's and things like that. And have assured spots, and who knows if you get a career-ending injury. So you kind of want to take it as it comes, and if it's your only chance to get into the World Cup, I think that you pad it a little bit. But as we've seen, like look at Diego Jota, like he just got injured, he's out, of the World Cup.
Yep.
Who else? I mean, there's some there
Reece
was
James might be out for
yeah,
the World
Reece
Cup.
James is out for England. Yeah, they said, and because it's a knee injury, so he's not going to
Yeah.
make it. But there's quite a few of like the bigger names that are like
I
not going to
mean,
make it.
I would go less hard. Like, you just don't go quite as hard into that tackle. Like I could see it happening. I mean, Kane, I would think would be one. He doesn't seem like he's pulled back at all, but I mean, come on, this is England's best chance maybe ever. This is Kane's last chance. He's not going to be starting. There's enough strikers in line behind him. This is his last chance to probably captain England in the World Cup. I don't know. I think it is having an effect on players, but the best players shouldn't do that. So it's hard to say.
Yeah, but also I think that this season is so up in the air that they're also thinking about like, well, if we don't grab a hold of these couple of points here, it'll come to bite us at the end. And if we have an opportunity to win the Premier League, and I don't know if I'm getting called up to the World Cup, I mean, some of them are probably going in extra hard to
True.
make sure that that person ahead of them gets injured. And you don't wish injury on your top players, but if you're second in line and you're toe to toe with your competitor,
Yeah.
you're kind of it's in your head.
Yeah, of
So
course it's
there's
in
no
your head.
telling. I don't think there's malice or anything like that, but I know if your careers don't last that long, so
Yeah.
it's hard to say. I don't think that players are holding back that much due to where the league is right now, but I mean, you can't really put a thumb on it. I think that the people that are injured know that like they probably could have done a little less.
Yeah, I'm sure
you
it's
know?
rotating through Jota's. I mean, Portugal
Oh
has a
yeah.
weird front line though. I mean, I don't even know if Jota starts there, but yeah, I mean, and let's talk about how open it is. I mean, we've been making fun of Liverpool since week one, and then Liverpool all of a sudden go upset City. City look unplayable with
But
Holland, but they're tied with Tottenham on points.
I think that
Arsenal,
that
I think they're
that
still
was
pretenders.
a mind thing though.
Yeah, that could have been a one off, but I still don't think City are as dominant as they look in highlights. Like, I mean, Holland and De Bruyne, you watch his goals, what, four hat tricks or three hat tricks in a row. You think they'd be killing the league, but they're second, tied on points with Tottenham, who everyone says look terrible. And Arsenal are one or two injuries or red cards away from complete capitulation, is my theory. However, they keep winning. They keep finding a way to win. So it's I think it's wide open. I
Frustrating
think
watching teams like that.
Even United could get in that title race top four right now. Let's segue to that bit of a snoozer if I'm being honest. United 0, Newcastle 0. My first thought here, Melgar, is Ronaldo's goal on that dead ball was kind of funny, but was he right? What did you think about that?
First off, we got to win games like that. And you can say that about every game, but you got to win games like that against teams that are on the up and up. You know,
Newcastle
the
are on the up and
finances
up.
finances are behind them. Their form, the Pope has gone like three clean sheets. Like it's just there's just a lot going on there that shows that they're moving in the right direction. Not like Arsenal getting the right players and all of a sudden things are clicking for a little bit. Like they're actually progressing in a way that's like eventually when they start signing the bigger names on top of this squad that they already have, that they're going to be really dangerous.
Oh
So you
yeah.
have to win games like that to have that mental edge moving forward, like our next match against them, as well as next season, things like that. You've got to put a performance on them, and I felt like we had not a lot of opportunities, and we're not putting in the box enough. There's always something. I really like Anthony on that right side, but I feel like he's going to get found out since he just favors his left foot, so much. Um, but I mean, he's doing well and he's got great footwork. But if we're not going up one side, we're favoring the other, and it's just a sideways passing, and then you have Fred in there that is just, oh my gosh,
Who's your favorite player? Is your Fred jersey coming in the mail yet?
I mean, I don't even know how to put because like I'm not trying to put forth hate
But
or
why is he
an
starting
agenda. It's
still?
just
You have other
I
options.
don't. Well, McTominay was suspended on cards, and Erickson was sick.
Got it.
So, I mean, at this point, I'm like, give the youngsters a chance, and also it's like, why did we not keep Garner for this exact reason? And he
Yeah.
came in and played against us and almost scored. It's
Yeah.
like what the actual, it's just nerve wracking because I know the type of performance he's going to put in, sideways passing, tenacity after ball that he's lost. It's the same, and
Rinse and
it's been
repeat.
years of this, and people are still like, well, he now under new manager, he's going under three managers now. Like, what are we expecting here? And he's about to be 30.
Yeah, he needs to
We
move
should
on.
sell him and get the money that we're going to get because some Turkish team or Qatar or something will scoop that up. Roma, even I don't know,
Yeah, even a lower level
but
Prem team, he'd be all right.
yeah. But the thing is like we depend on those, and then we don't realize how much that affects our forward progression. Um, with Ronaldo, I mean, having someone like that behind you, what do you expect? Like he's having to come back, and then people are like, "Well, he's not playing in the box. He's not taking his chances." It's like, man, he doesn't, he
Yeah, he
can't
needs to
just sit
connect.
up like in his natural position. You know,
Yeah.
I do believe that was a goal
Okay.
because the
That was
ref, the side on the ref,
yeah.
he blew the whistle.
Yeah.
The defender taps it to the goalkeeper. And if that's a free kick, let's say, shooting at the goal, and then there's two people lined up behind it and one taps it to the other to take the shot or corner, that it's a go, right? You're go.
Yeah. I mean, it was clever. I mean,
He's
I
standing
was like,
there.
no fucking way. No fucking way. I thought it
Yeah.
was a goal. But
And a player like Ronaldo is not a clown, and he's not going to be like, I'm going to waste time in a game that we need to win. You know, there's no reason to go and get booked out of frustration. It's just like
Yeah.
it's a goal because in his head, in all of his years of playing, he's like, this is a live ball and I'm going for it. That's the
Yeah.
goal.
Yeah, I
And
think
then
he
the
had every
penalty,
right to, but I mean, he is oozing frustration, in my opinion. I mean, I did not think he looked that great. I mean, he's got probably his last World Cup. I mean, actually, he's a freak. He'll probably be playing for Portugal till he's 60, but yeah, last dance. But I mean, he doesn't look. I guess he's a legend for you, and he's one of your favorite players. Does he not look super frustrated by just everything right now? I mean, he just seems like he's not enjoying
yeah,
his time.
no, 100%. But he seems frustrated because he's also not in the form that he's used to,
Yeah.
and it has nothing to do with his physicality, his health and everything. Like he's prime, he's ready, but he's lost. And I remember watching Rooney go through this, and it's hard pill to swallow. Obviously, Rooney's decline was a little bit quicker just because it was evident that the speed and like
Yeah.
they
He
changed his
was like,
position,
oh,
and they put him, like Louis van Gaal like put him actually back as a 10
yeah.
for a little bit. Like so that one was a little different. Whereas Ronaldo's like, no, I know where I'm staying until the end of my days. Like I'm here to score goals, poach him. He's losing that step a little bit, but to me, he still got it. Thing is, we're not feeding what we have there. He's one
Yeah.
of the best in the air to ever do it. We're not even whipping in those type of crosses. Diogo Jota is like, it's here nor there if he gets in a cross. And then, like I said, Anthony up front, he has to pull it back to his left foot, and then he's trying to bend it into that back post and we're not on a run with Ronaldo, and he can catch it, every like 3 or 4 times, but people are reading that, and then you've got Shaw on the left, which is like he'll get in a good cross, but it won't be on like the perfect build up play. It'll be like a couple of overlaps, and then all of a sudden he's open, he just whips it in, So there's no like real like build up to when you're watching a game and you see your wingers go out and Harry Kane going into the box, and you're like, here it comes, it's going in there. It's
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
it's kind of like all over the place, and then you're like, oh, did it? Where's oh. So
Disjointed.
I understand that he's frustrated, but also that nobody is trying to pick him up because all clubs see this as well.
Yeah.
They don't see Ronaldo as being the person that will fix their squad because he doesn't fit our squad. They're looking at him as a player, and they're like, he's not really fitting any squad right now. He just came from Juventus, which was, his form was declining a little bit, and he was arguing with the manager. And now he's been pushing for this move, and it hasn't really, come to fruition the way that he wants. He thought that it would just be a bunch of clubs, biting at
I
the
think he
bit.
should go back to Portugal and do bits. Where was his upbringing?
Sporting,
Sporting? He
listen,
would
yeah,
be crushing for Sporting.
and his mom really wants that, but I think that like if he someone like that who wants to go out, I think that he wants to just do it at a really, really big club. So then he gets the biggest cheer. And I think that Sporting would be fun for him. I think he's holding off for like one more high level, like just a year contract somewhere,
I mean,
and
if you
then
guys
go
can
back there
qualify
and
for
hang it
top
up.
four, he's gonna stay till he retires, right?
Yeah, I mean, it would be a massive contract.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean,
But
let's
also,
let's let's talk about the other Marcus Rashford, man. I feel for the guy. That why did he not win that game for you? He it was set up on a plate for him. I don't understand what happened there. He's not
oh,
clutch.
so was the pass that he gave to Fred, and Fred shanked it.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, we can push the blame on people. Rashford is in form after a devastating season where his confidence level and everything was absolutely in the mud. He's finally back to full physical form, health and everything, and he was just heart wrenched. Like the fans weren't behind him. People, to me, he's still one of my favorite players. Before Ronaldo came back, he was my favorite player for United. Still, just like I got a lot of love for that guy. He was someone that first stepped on the pitch, and I was like, that guy's going to do it. And I went and bought his original kit with 30, it was 39 on the back, and it's like the kid has what it takes for left. I think left wing, like up the middle, it's too much for him. He's overthinking it, And unless we can drop in those balls from like defense and just these huge drops, and he gets a take on it and puts it in the back of the net, he's not good at the very top for us. He's not built for that. And if you've looked at his head game, like I didn't mean like that, but if you look at his game in the
How do you know
air,
about his head game?
yeah, I knew this coming. Oh,
You guys hang out for a while, or
yeah.
got it?
His stuff in the air, he just, statistics aren't amazing. When's the last time we saw Rashford score a header? And not forever.
But
I think
this
that
is the
he'll come
worst
good.
time for him to have a dip in form because I mean Sterling hasn't like that left wing position. I don't think Sterling owns it as much as he used to because he hasn't even been playing for Chelsea lately.
Yeah.
And so I mean
But
this
how
is
is he having a dip
Rashford's
in form?
chance.
He's scored in the last like 3 matches,
Okay, a dip
like
in
bangers.
the end of the game that if he won it, it would have looked a lot better. I mean, he just can't make mistakes right now because he's not starting for England as of now. But if he
Yeah.
plays out of his skin for the next month, he could get into that team. That left wing position is not owned by Sterling. I mean, you've got Grealish who could play there. You've got some other players who are going to be rotating. But I mean, I think Rashford's got a shot at getting some decent minutes, but he needs to. I mean, he should have scored that goal, to be honest.
Yeah. But luckily, I mean, Gareth Southgate really likes Rashford, and he's picked him sometimes where I thought that was questionable, like last season. There was a couple of times he got called up when everyone's like, how is this dude even around? And then gets injured and didn't make it to the actual matches. But he got called up a couple of times last season, and he was, not playing well. And so I think that
he's doing better.
the form that he's in, he'll at least be a backup. So
Yeah.
And you need kind of some big names, and not saying that Rashford is a big name in the fact that he's playing well, but because of stuff he's done off the pitch, he's in England, like, oh yeah, we love this guy, like, so I
he's a
think he'll
great
make it.
human
I
being.
think he'll make it, and maybe he goes there and shines. Maybe he has like a Luke Shaw Euros, scenario, or a Maguire. That's just a whole nother subject. That guy, I'm so glad that he's not on the pitch right now. And
Well, I mean, your defense, I actually think Lisandro Martinez has
rated
been your best player this season. Like,
Martinez, yeah, the
yeah,
butcher.
he's
The butcher.
legit, man. Like, I know we were actually linked to him too because we've got the other Argentinian center back, and it would have been interesting to see those two play together on a club team. But yeah, I mean, his size, like, I know a lot of people were shitting on him for he's my height, so we're better
Yeah,
looking.
but have you seen his aerial duels percentage?
He's
It's
legit,
just
man.
crushing.
You don't notice it.
He was leaping over Wilson during this last match, like just on his back, like up in the air, just like, and everyone's like,
He's
what? That
got
dude is
fire,
twice the
man.
size, like, I mean,
Talk about
so
someone
yeah.
playing like they're not worried about the World Cup. That dude
Oh
plays like he's
no.
not worried
Yeah.
about anything. He's just tenacious, which I
And
love.
him and Varane are a great duo together. We've seen now when Varane got a little knock and we brought in Lindelof. There's obviously a difference in style of play, but just the confidence level, just the way that he carries himself. You know that all the accolades are well earned and not just because he was on a team that was doing well. So when he's on the
Lindelof's
pitch,
Swedish. He's Swedish.
yeah.
Got it.
So when Varane is on there, it's like when we were discussing Hjorberg, you just kind of have that sense of like, we're good. He's got it, no matter who the strikers are. And if there's a good play and there's a one-off and they get, burned up, then it was a solid make at it, like it was a good build up. So, I mean, there's a lot of players on United right now that I'm like, do they make their national teams? What are we worrying about? Like, I think the person I'm worried
Who's
about
making the
the most
national team for United right now? Let's go top
Casemiro.
front to back. Ronaldo.
Casemiro. I'm worried about Casemiro because I don't want him to get injured out there because then we're just back to square one. Casemiro, Ronaldo,
Anthony, does he make it? He probably makes the
yeah,
team.
on Brazil,
Probably
yeah,
won't start, but he'll
and
probably
then
make the team. Varane,
Delo,
Harry
Portugal.
Maguire.
Unfortunately, he will though. That's the thing. Like
Maguire, De Gea.
No, I don't think De Gea makes it, man.
You don't think he makes it? I think he makes it.
I mean,
start.
He did they even take him to the Euros?
Maybe not.
I don't think he makes it. So, and he's like scratching at the bit to get a new contract or final contract with United and retire there. We'll see. And I think that that's all part of him knowing there's younger people out there taking his spots on the national team and things like that. Um, Let me see who
Erickson
else.
makes it for sure.
Oh, of course, man. That guy,
Um,
you're gonna hate it when I get that white Erickson kit.
no,
Start
dude,
wearing
I
on.
support everything Erickson does. I mean,
That
if he went to
dude,
Arsenal, then fuck him, or even Chelsea.
yeah,
But I'm okay with it. He went to United. I
he
love the
he
guy. He died for the
he's
game.
amazing. Yeah, he's amazing for us, and he's a
He's
very
just
pinnacle part of
amazing.
it.
He's a
Yeah,
great player.
Fred will unfortunately be at in Brazil, and I don't
Yeah.
wish injury on anybody, but I hope that he goes there and stays in Brazil. Like,
Does that little Dutch left back play for Holland? I feel like they've
yeah,
got a bunch of
Malacia,
decent backs.
yeah, yeah. I could see him. I mean, he had one bad game, and all of a sudden, people are kind of like, "Oh, see, Luke Shaw deserves to." I think the competition on that left back position is the reason why they're both playing well.
Yeah, Luke Shaw is
And
going to make the
Luke
World
Shaw
Cup.
always plays better when he knows that there's somebody pushing for a spot. Because when they had um, the gentleman before him, he didn't really play that well, and he didn't. Luke Shaw's like my spot is locked in. I don't have to worry about anything. So I mean, I
It's
can't think
almost your
of
whole
any.
starting 11, man.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of like
Like
who
Martial, I don't know if he makes it. He
he's
probably
injured
doesn't.
too,
Okay.
and he's just injury prone. So I don't think France are even going to go with that. Like, I
They've
think
got
it's funny. I
way,
think it's
way,
funny
way
the
other
the
options.
downfall of Pogba too. Like
Yeah, I
that
mean,
that
the
guy.
personal
Like,
stuff he's got going on is
oh, I
terrible, but
can't even get into that. But it's just like you, bro. Like I hate to say it, but you brought a lot of this on it. Not the embezzlement stuff, not all that, or the robber from his brother, but like just the form, his play, the injuries, the Juventus where they're going. Like
he peaked.
yeah. Well, he didn't even peak. He was
I mean,
always playing the
he
business
was peaked
side
at
of it.
Juventus
Like,
before you bought him. He was a good player then. That was his
yeah,
peak.
but he did that in order to get a money move. Like I feel like everything he's done has been to make sure that he's got a locked in future financially. And
Yeah.
I get it if that's what it's about for you, but don't go then on social media or interviews and make it sound like a club hated you or the fans hated you and that's why you left and you're just abused and then you're injured all the time and there are not any highlights, you're not doing anything amazing. You go and play for France and have some worldies and you just keep yourself in the limelight and then your own family are coming at you like,
Yeah.
and they've been
He'll
your
make the
biggest
team though.
supporters, so it just goes to show like what's really going on with this guy behind the scenes. But
Yeah.
anyway, he's not with us anymore, so it's like not my, was it
He's gonna make the
not,
France
not
squad
my
though.
circus, not my monkeys, not my circus or whatever.
Yeah,
So
not your circus
not that
monkey.
I didn't mean that in any sort of racial way, but it's just a saying. So not our problem anymore. So I
Yeah,
wish
no, I
him the
mean I
best,
think
but he
he still
brought
makes
way
France
too
though, dude.
much.
You
Yeah,
don't
of
think France
course.
brings him?
Well, with Conte hurt, like that's
Yeah.
another one. Conte out for World Cup.
Yeah.
That's intense. It's like because that might be his last, right?
I mean, France just seems to implode internally. Like, remember the South Africa World Cup? Like, they always have like these internal issues between players, like Benzema, like Ballon d'Or winner as of yesterday, which was fully deserved. But, does he has such conflict with some of those guys in the France squad? Like, it just, France, I'm happy for England that France has so many issues because their squad's so good.
Yeah, I mean, but
But
we're
you guys are
looking.
sending a lot of players, though. I mean, as are we, to the World Cup. So, I mean, it could really change our
Yeah,
season.
who do you guys have going?
I mean,
Dyer and Kane and
Dyer, Kane, Lloris, Bentancur, Højbjerg, Son, um, Perisic. Um,
Perisic's last World Cup.
yeah, but yeah, probably. He's like 34.
This is going to be a wild
Romero.
World Cup.
Romero's huge for Argentina. Kulusevski's huge for Sweden. Richarlison for Brazil. I mean, literally all our players who are
Yeah,
worth anything are going. Ben Davies for Wales, which is worrisome a little bit because
yeah, yeah.
like
That's what I
like
was gonna
Man
say.
City have Holland and he's not even going to play in the World Cup. He's just going to be like in his
Chilling.
fucking
Yeah.
chamber, getting stronger, like
Oh
and
yeah.
relaxing.
Dude, he's just like a Viking, that dude, like a real
He's
life
so fun to
Viking. And
watch.
this, yeah. And the thing is, he's got a good touch on the ball and things like that.
Oh,
You can't even knock this player. Like he's got a good, like good grasp mentally on the game, where he moves really well. Like he's an all-round, like really well-built player. Like he made the right choices and
Better than
coming up,
Mbappe.
like he was, oh yeah, the development that he chose to do when, going to Borussia Dortmund, like he made really, really smart choices, him and his dad, and money, obviously, but he did it in the right way. So then he was strong enough to when he came to the Prem, he just was like bullying people. It's
Oh,
pretty
dude, he's
wild.
I don't really know what his flaws are. He's quicker than you think, and I like his head game. Like all this stuff coming. I mean, no, I'm serious. He's
Got him.
no, he's no, I was serious about that. My last time I visited Norway.
Oh
He's
God, no, I
great.
don't need to hear
I mean, he's
anything
probably
about
good at
that.
that. He's good at everything. You know,
Yeah.
he's excellent. But I would much rather have him than Mbappe because I don't know if it's just media, but like what's coming out about Mbappe, like he doesn't want to play anymore at PSG, he wants to go to Real Madrid. He just seems like a bitch.
I mean, it seems to
And
all be going back to France though again too. It's like
yeah,
it's like what's up with these players? Like, they're all chatting.
drama
Like
queens,
they have
man.
a group chat. Like, are they just gassing each other up and being like, yo, I would not take that move. I'd go out and make a scene about it,
I don't
like
know.
why? Why?
Drama queens, man. The
I
French.
mean, how do you not have everything that you need when you are part like manager pretty much of PSG? Like that was part of his contract was to be like part
You're
director or
playing
something.
with
What's
Neymar
this is
and Messi.
wild,
Come on, man.
wild.
Like, why are you complaining? But
Yeah, this World Cup is going to be wild as well. It's a lot of laughs, and it is sad to see the end of an era. Whereas Messi has announced it will be his last World Cup.
for sure,
Pretty
it'll be
sure
Ronaldo's.
Ronaldo's, but Ronaldo says he does want to play the Euros, so he has one more big international
Yeah.
send off.
Yeah, I could see that. Could be Harry Kane's last, being
Really?
talisman. I mean,
You
he'll
think
probably play
Harry?
in the next one, but I mean, he'll be what, like 34? I mean, maybe he'll be the same guy, but I don't know. Who
I
knows?
mean, when was Rooney's last? How old was he when his
Yeah,
last
you're
World
right. It
Cup?
won't be his last World Cup, but will he still be England's talisman and captain by then? I don't think so. Hugo Lloris, I mean, he's captain of France, won them the World Cup. I think this is probably his successor, Magnon or whatever his name is for
Hmm.
AC Milan is breathing down his neck.
Yeah.
Um, so I think there's a lot of players. Ericsson, it's gonna be his last one for
Oh,
sure.
for sure, for sure.
Um,
It'll be a sweet send off for him. I mean, I don't see them making it too far.
I do. They're a good team, man. I mean, think about how well they did in the Euros. I think
True.
that I think they could be a dark horse, absolutely, in the World Cup.
Ah,
But
could you imagine his send off being winning the cup? Like, wow.
I
Fuck.
would love it for Højbjerg too.
Hmm.
Um, so we got a game tomorrow.
Oh yeah,
Tottenham
we haven't even jumped into that
versus
yet.
United.
Let's
What's
end on
your
that, huh?
what's your score prediction?
I
I put
think
a
we
score prediction in our running order. Can you read it out?
you put in United 5, Spurs 0. Why would you
Read
go
that
against your
wrong.
own team like that?
Read that wrong,
Oh,
man.
sorry, dyslexia. My bad. He had he
No,
has
I'm just kidding. We'll never score 5 goals. But what do you
he
think?
has Spurs -5. Oh, dyslexia again. Spurs 5 dash United 0. Okay, got it.
Yep. Yep.
I think United steal it, skin it, grab and go at the end with 1-0.
I don't. I think it's going to be ugly, to be honest. I think the way to play against us is don't attack very aggressively. And then we kind of, don't have possession and we don't do well. Teams that try to attack against us, they end up getting slaughtered. So I think if you come in with the right tactics, I think it's going to be a bit of a snoozer in the first half. And then I think we come out in the second half and win 2-0.
Yeah,
Brace
all
from
right.
Sonny.
I mean, I think the last yeah, it was rough when they're leaving, paying their tabs early and don't want to talk about the end of the game. And your sister's just got a disgust face on there. I think she was so upset. Actually, she left, and then we stayed there celebrating a little bit. And about half an hour later, she came back in to get her card and pay her tab. Like that's
Yeah,
how
I mean,
upset she
I
was.
won't lie. Like, we didn't lose to Liverpool last year. We
Hey,
didn't
Sabrina.
lose to City last year, but we got done the double by United, which is, I don't know. You guys have been a bit of a bogey team for us, even though we've been
And that's what I
consistently
was saying
higher in
about
the
like
table for a while.
Yeah, well, that's what I
Um,
was saying. Like about Newcastle, it's like you have to have that mental edge, and sometimes, and what Conte just came out yesterday when I was saying like we lost to Ronaldo. He came out and had a
I
game
felt
because
like
he
we
was,
did. Like
yeah,
last time you beat us, I felt like we were the better side, but you just had an outlier who was the best player on the pitch.
yeah, and who
But
scored a
tomorrow's a
hat
big
trick.
game. I mean, if you guys can beat us, that's a huge statement for
We
you. And
have to, we
if we can
have to
beat
though.
you, is it at Old Trafford tomorrow? Okay, then I mean, if we can beat you at Old Trafford, that's a huge statement from us as well. We struggle like shit at Old Trafford, so I'm gonna go ahead and reduce my confidence to a 1-0 victory, a cheeky
A
Harry
Spurs,
Kane
okay,
penalty.
I could see
Um,
that. I could see that, but I'm going to stick with my guns. I think it'll be a physical game, and I think that our defense is going to be put to the test. And I think that Conte is a smart enough manager to know that, and he's going to position your front guys really well and take some daring runs. Like spread the defense, draw them out. Hjorber is going to be huge in pulling some of our defenders, but hopefully Ten Hag realizes that and tells them to stand their ground and play. I like man to man, but I think in this case you kind of have to zone it out with the movement you guys have up front. So we'll see.
I mean, this is gonna be the first game, right? No, 10 since we beat Ajax in the semifinal against Ten Hag. I mean, he's got to have a bone to pick with Spurs after that.
Something.
So it's going to be interesting. Also excited to see, I mean, the Butcher against Cudi Romero, two of the most aggressive and insane center backs in the Premier League right now. I think it's going to be interesting. Who do you guys have injured? So is Ericsson still out?
Martial is out. I was watching the press conference. Yeah, Martial's out. I think Ericsson is back. Um,
Dang. I was hoping to see more of Fred.
yeah, no. Um, but I think McTominay will start though.
Okay.
They're trying to bully the midfield a little bit. But yeah, I think that's it on like our starting squad. I think it's just Martial
We've got
that we're
Richarlison
be
out.
missing.
Um, he's not going to miss the World Cup, but he's going to
And
be out
Kulifesky, right?
for a while. Kulisevsky might come back tomorrow. We'll see. Apparently, he's like touch and go, and he might come back. I mean, we're a totally different team if he comes back, so I hope he does. But if he's out and so is Richarlison, we're going to play a 3-5-2, and I love when we play a 3-5-2. I think it would do great against United actually. So
Mm-hmm.
yeah, I'm optimistic about tomorrow.
Well,
So
we'll stay in close contact, and the memes and emojis will be flowing. Sometimes I like to go silent though, because I feel like I have that jinxing power if I say something too soon, and then all of a sudden it's like bang, super goal against us. I'm like, son of a. My Liverpool buddy gets a lot of that. He's like, oh, why aren't you bantering back? And I'm like, man, because it's a tight game, and like I don't want.
I
I
turn
got
off my
that
phone sometimes, or I put it
mischief.
away so I don't look at it.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, it'll be exciting next podcast to see where this ended up and see if our predictions are correct.
Yeah.
And everybody that is watching on YouTube, please don't forget to smash a like below, subscribe, pass it on to your friends, and everyone who's listening on Spotify. I hope that this was nice and silky, especially since
Got a
Mr.
real
Vehicle
mic.
got a real mic.
Awesome. Well, thank you, the man with the best head game, Sean Melgar, for another episode
Oh,
of Prem Pals, and we'll
nice
talk
leg.
after the match. Take it easy.
Much love. Peace.